This is Veterans Week on ESPN, presented by USAA. Fittingly, on this Veterans Day, we welcome you to Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. The fourth-ranked Tigers host their pals from Tallahassee, the Seminoles of Florida State. And with that, we recognize Florida State offensive line coach and Marine veteran Rick Trickett, who went to Vietnam as an 18-year-old in 1967. He said of the meaning of Veterans Day, you have to live it to understand. His offensive line will go up against arguably the best defensive front in all of college football. And that matchup could decide what happens on the scoreboard later today. And as you might have been able to notice, Clemson will be wearing their orange britches, and that can only mean a championship is at stake. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. It's Brian Greasy. I'm Steve Levy. A tradition starts way back to the Danny Ford days when there's something on the line. North Carolina State just victorious, keeps the pressure on Clemson, who can win the Atlantic Division today. But they've got their sights set on a much bigger goal, and that's winning back-to-back national championships.
It's all right there in front of them, right? But this is the time for the playoffs, right? This is a playoff game for Clemson. No room for error. They already lost that game to Syracuse. NC State, as you mentioned, keeps a little bit of pressure on them. So they have to win today if they want to repeat as national champions. But it's going to be a challenge. They had a physical game last week against NC State. Kelly Bryant was knocked around in that game. Didn't throw the ball terribly well. This defense got after Kelly Bryant. They hit him repeatedly. It'll be interesting to see, does that have any effect on this game? And Kelly Bryant in particular had to get well this week, get in the training room and get back healthy. There's also a couple guys on the defensive side that were nicked up in that game. No Dexter Lawrence, the All-American defensive tackle in this game, and Kendall Joseph is questionable at the Mike linebacker position.
Closes the gap a little bit here today. Hey, not to sugarcoat, Florida State's season is disappointing. They thought they had the makings of something special, but if they can't go to the playoff, there's nothing the Seminoles would like more than to deny Clemson of that opportunity. And you can make the argument that the Seminoles will have as many NFL players on the field today as Clemson will, and no one knows more about that than our pal Todd McShay.
Well, Steve, this defense is absolutely loaded. If they're going to win today, it's not going to be a shootout. The Noles are going to have to turn this into a defensive battle. I think up front, Derek Notty's a player to watch, number 91 defensive tackle. He's doing a great job. A year ago, he was the guy who would take on blockers. This year, he's fighting through blocks and finishing. Then behind him, Derwin James, the most important player on defense for Florida State in this game, and I think the most versatile safety in the country. Expect to see him close to the box, rushing the quarterback at times, helping in run support, working in coverage, but also as a spy against Kelly Bryant, whose best trait is running the football on designed runs or when he's throwing the football and decides nothing's open. So today, Florida State hasn't showed up every week. The guys, I think they're going to show up today, and they've got to bring the fight on the defensive side.
The last 8 years, the Atlantic Division of the ACC has been won by Florida State or Clemson. It always seems to come down to this game, and Clemson is in position to run down the hill and run off with the Atlantic Division today. Florida State has won the toss and deferred, so the Tigers will get the football first. On the line for Florida State, they take these streaks very, very serious in Tallahassee and elsewhere. You know, I can't get past the bowl appearances, 35 consecutive. And people will knock that, hey, there are a million bowls. Well, you know what? No one else has done it. Right. Nobody else has done it. And beyond just the bowl is the extra time to practice and get ready for next year.
Yeah, and that's a big deal to Jimbo Fisher and this entire program. You know, it hasn't gone their way the way they wanted it this year, but those bowl practices to get some young players some experience are invaluable.
Florida State at 3-5. They're 3 losses by 6 points or less. We asked Jimbo Fisher the story of the season. He didn't talk about the freshman quarterback. Didn't say we're not scoring enough. He said we're not getting enough defensive stops at the end of these close games. I thought that was interesting. Florida State off a 3-point win over Syracuse 1 week ago. Clemson comes off with, Reese talked about that physical win at NC State, 38-31. Travis Etienne is back to receive for Clemson, the true freshman speedster. And Logan Tyler will put it in the air. And we are underway from Death Valley on a Saturday afternoon in November. Etienne able to get out just to the 15-yard line. Excellent kick coverage to start the game for Florida State.
Our first look at Kelly Bryant, and as we mentioned, that physical game a week ago wasn't terribly successful throwing the ball down the field in that game against NC State, which is a very good defense. But I think there might have been a blueprint as to how to slow down this Clemson offense last week from NC State. And you know Florida State has the talent, but can they execute enough to keep this Clemson offense in check today?
Comes out throwing and overthrowing Hunter Renfrow. Is such a reliable target on third down. They go to him on first down. Derwin James had the coverage.
And let's take a look at a key matchup here. Kelly Bryant at the quarterback position. He loves to run the football. He's very talented. Derwin James at the safety position. We're going to see him a lot spying Bryant and close to the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd and 15, draw to Feaster. Gets back some of that penalty yardage. Roderick Hoskins made the stop for Florida State. Feaster had an 89-yard rushing touchdown a week ago. Literally ran out the third quarter.
Yep. Start to this game for Florida State is probably more important than any game that they've played all year. They have to have some confidence that they can come into Death Valley and compete with this Clemson team.
3rd and 9. Here's Bryant. Can't get out of the pressure, and he's dropped by Brian Burns. Burns comes up with his first full sack of the season.
And Brian Burns is a talented hybrid type player. Going to come right up the field on Pollard. Pollard's a good right tackle, just not ready for the speed of Brian Burns. And Pollard starts the game with a false start, then gives up a sack on third down. Not the way that Dabo Swinney wanted to start this football game.
Will Spires will punt from his own end zone. Make contact from the 3. DJ Matthews is back for it, and he'll let it bounce. And no matter where that rolls, Florida State will take over with excellent field position after handing Clemson a 3 and out to start. 44 yards on the punt. James Blackman, he's never faced this kind of atmosphere, this kind of team on the road here in Death Valley.
No, you know, the games that they've been on the road at Wake Forest, at Duke, and at Boston College, with all due respect to those places, it's not Death Valley, so he's got to manage the environment early in this game.
And Cleveland Farrell told us he'd be telling Blackman about that. His own welcome to Death Valley. 1st down and 10. And a handoff to Cam Akers, the true freshman from Clinton, Mississippi. Johnson and Farrell make the stop in the middle of that line.
You know, we thought coming into this season that Florida State could have a pretty good offense. We all know about DeAndre Francois, but you would never expect for those rankings, those national rankings in scoring yards and sacks allowed to be the story of the season for Florida State. They've had injuries on the offensive line. They've had injuries at receiver and obviously at quarterback. They lost a lot of production, but they do get a couple of those receivers back today, and Auden Tate especially.
Against Clemson, where Clemson is staying in the defensive backfield. Another matchup to watch today. The 2nd and 11. Keep it on the ground, and Akers lowers his helmet and fires through for a few. Van Smith made the stop. We need some more impact players, McShay.
Give you a matchup, Levy. Auden Tate, number 18, big possession receiver, great ball skills, going up against 31, the cornerback Ryan Carter for Clemson. I think he's their best cover corner. The problem is for Clemson in this game, he's giving up 8 inches and 40 pounds, so they're going to try to isolate him from time to time.
Let's repeat that. 8 inches. A quarter to a wide receiver. 3rd down and 4. See what direction Blackman is throwing. That's Murray shifting to his left. Here comes the pressure. Oh, he's rocked. Ball is out. And it's Clemson's football. Trey Lamar able to knock the football out and recover. What a shot that Blackman took. And he is still down. Number 1 in white.
See DeAndre Francois. That looks eerily familiar to the last couple of years for Florida State, taking shots. But this is all on James Blackman. Here's the blitz right here. Akers makes a great block, but this is the quarterback. You have to know if you're protected or not. He had no idea, and Trey Lamar made him pay. If I'm Clemson, why wouldn't you continue to blitz a young quarterback like James Blackman as a true freshman?
And I credit Blackman. You know, you're saying get rid of it. That's not necessary. He's got guts. He's fearless. He's not afraid.
Just needs a little more intelligence.
Yeah. A few more of those hits. He'll figure it out. Loss of 15 off the turnover now, the quick change. Bryant will throw and complete to the 15. DeAndre Overton able to make the grab. His 10th catch of the season. Boy, how many Clemson receivers can they go to? They are stacked at the wideout position. 2nd down and 5 from the 15. Handoff to Etienne. Down to the 12. Trey Marshall came up from his strong safety spot to make the tackle. 3rd down.
And how many times has Florida State's defense been put in these bad situations on the season, right? They -10 in turnover margin. They've been put behind the 8 ball time and time again. Can they rise up here and keep Clemson out of the end zone?
3rd and 2. Richard shifting to the right. And Bryant will look to keep it. He has just enough for the 1st down. His forward progress will move the chains.
1st down, Tiger. 1st and goal.
All right, say what you want about Kelly Bryant throwing the football, and I think he's going to continue to grow in that area and get better, but you cannot question his toughness. We've got 2 really tough quarterbacks in this game, but at the end of the NC State game last week, Kelly Bryant ran with toughness. That jumped out on the tape watching him. And when the game's on the line in tight situations, they're going to have the ball in number 2's hands.
1st down and goal from just inside the 10. It's Etienne for a couple. Bring up a 2nd down. We talked to Bryant in practice on Thursday, and I asked him about taking all those hits from a week ago. He says, no problem. I've always made plays with my legs. And he wants to keep doing that. And he is their leading rusher coming into the game today.
Which is the biggest difference from a year ago, quite honestly, because Deshaun was more of a thrower.
2nd and goal. Here's Bryant rolling to his right. He'll tuck it. Try to make a move, take some people on, and crash down to the 3. Roderick Hoskins might have gotten the worst of that collision.
I think the biggest difference is the want to. Deshaun Watson always wanted to be a pocket passer that could scramble and extend plays. Kelly Bryant's just as happy running as he is thrown. He wants to have that element, and it's been a big part of his success so far this season.
Yeah, at 6'4", 220, why wouldn't he, right, Todd?
Exactly.
And do what you do best. And you see what a physical presence he can be in a run game.
3rd and goal. That's McLeod in motion. They fake it to him. Bryant will keep it on the ground, and he'll get there. Touchdown. That's Kelly Bryant's 10th rushing touchdown of the season. Clemson takes the lead. Spence has the extra point. Clemson draws first blood here this afternoon, and they lead 7-0.
Yeah, that came off up front. Here's Derek Nottie right here. He's the one that's got to make the play. He beats the block. But look at the strength of Kelly Bryant to run through that tackle and continue and finish into the end zone after the big turnover from James Blackman. You come on the road, Florida State does, in this environment, Death Valley, and turn the football over, bad things going to happen.
Back in Death Valley, 7-0, the home side. And Florida State will get the football. We'll check on their freshman quarterback. Here's Alex Spence off the tee. Spence, who kicked it out of bounds 2 times a week ago. Kicking has been an issue. Amir Rasul recovered and able to bring it out. Florida State will try to keep James Blackman upright on this series. From the 14, they start on 1st and 10 with Cam Akers. And he'll sidestep one hit and be dropped down at the 19-yard line by Clelin Ferrell.
We got to keep an eye on James Blackman. I think he opened the wrong way on that last play. And how much of an effect are these hits going to have on him early in this game? We talked with Jimbo Fisher. He was a little bit concerned about his quarterback as a true freshman coming into this kind of environment in Death Valley against this defense and this defensive front. And it has not been a pretty start to the game for number 1 White.
Blackman had one rough practice this week, but Jimbo told us bounced back with 2 great practices after that. So he's got all the DNA of a great quarterback. On the ground to Akers. We'll bring up a 3rd and short. J.D. Davis made the stop.
Yeah, he said he loves to learn. You know, he make mistakes. Obviously, as a freshman, going to make mistakes. But he'll come back, he'll tap Jimbo on the shoulder, ask him questions. Hey, why was that right? Why was that not right? What can I do different the next time? But Christian Wilkins, Austin Bryant, those guys are coming after you. And Jimbo Fisher knows it could be a long day.
Think DeAndre Francois is checked out? Think again.
No, look at him. He's in every conversation. After that long throw that Gavin dropped, he's talking right here. That's Ermon Lane, who's a receiver. He's talking about, listen, we have to make these plays. Justin's out there trying to make plays. This is the difference between winning and losing on the road. And it's impressive that DeAndre Francois continuing to lead from the sideline, even though he's hurt.
First time he's traveled with the team since the injury. Recovered by Alec Eberle. That could have been 6 for Clemson. Instead, Florida State and Eberle amazingly able to come up with the football and able to punt it out of there.
Wow, so much going on here. First of all, I have no idea why Jimbo Fisher's trying to throw a 7-step drop out of his own end zone here against this rush. That's the first mistake. What a heads-up play by Eberle. Could save 7 points here, give him a little bit of room to punt the football. And James Blackman takes another huge hit. This time, Christian Wilkins. And Wilkins introducing himself to the young quarterback for the first time in this game.
Eberle saves the day for now. Logan Tyler, 6 inches from the back line. And he's able to get it out. Ray McLeod, what a punt that is. McLeod from his 35, the big punt leads to a big return. Here's Ray McLeod down the sideline, and he's pushed out at the 26-yard line. Man, that's a 59-yard punt by Logan Tyler, and Ray a 38-yard return.
The same thing happened last week against North Carolina State. They had a booming kick. You almost outkick your coverage, as the saying goes, and you give Ray McLeod that much space with good blocking, and unfortunately, he didn't take that one back.
Kelly Bryant from the 28. Here's Travis Etienne making it look easy. To the house. Touchdown, Clemson. Extra point on the way. So 28-yard score.
Got to give it a heads up to this offensive line and the tight end. Here's Mylan Richard. He's just going to come down. He gets the block, and they pull around with Hearn. This is just straight power football, Steve. And you get a guy like Etienne with that speed, that kind of a crease, and he's going to hit his head on the goalpost.
Set up by the big punt return from Ray McLeod. 14-0. Clemson. See if Florida State can get some kind of spark on a return. Amir Rasul and Keith Gavin are back deep. And thank you. A spectacular college football Saturday across the US of A. First down and 10. from the 25. Blackman to throw. This time's got all sorts of protection, and it'll still be dropped. Albert Huggins. Got to be a coverage sack there.
Well, this is nothing new for Justin Blackman. It's been all day long, and part of it is his protection. Part of it is his decision. Should have thrown that ball in the flat right there. This is on Jimbo Fisher, in my opinion. Trying to throw a deep drop from your own end zone. Escaped a mistake there. That was his only completion. The touch pass to Nooney Murray, and Clemson now with its 4th sack on the game already in the first half.
2nd and 15. Blackman, and it's knocked away by Austin Bryant. Nearly made a very athletic interception. Reese, I got to ask you on that one completion that we saw there, and there got to be people at home wondering, why shovel it 3 inches in front of you on that kind of jet action, as opposed to handing it to him? What advantage is there to that?
That's a great question. So if you try to hand it to him and the ball gets on the ground, it's a fumble. But if you touch it to him, now it's a pass. So if he drops it, it's an incomplete pass and no problem.
And there's your answer, America. You're welcome. 3rd and 15. If that's his only completion of the day, they got big problems. They might already have big problems. Here's Akers. Chad Smith makes the stop for Clemson. 4th down.
That was interesting there on that drive. They had 2 backup linebackers in the game. Clemson did. Chad Smith, as you mentioned, a redshirt sophomore, and James Skalski. So you have no Kendall Joseph playing this game. And I think they've made the decision to kind of give him a week of rest. And so J.D. Davis and some of these backups at linebacker, we were talking with Brent Venables about that. He wants to play more players because he wants to have 2 whole units of guys that are ready to play as this season goes on.
Logan Tyler will put it in the air. And this time Ray McLeod will call for the fair catch. Florida State has just 24 yards of offense on 21 offensive snaps. Came up with a big sack on the final drive 1 week ago to cement that victory against Syracuse. Bryant will keep it and push forward for about a yard. And there is Derek Noddy, as if he knew McShay was helping him rise up his big board.
You just can't move him. I mean, he's so strong. He's 6'1", 310 pounds. And he's right here. He's always going to be right over the center, Falcinelli. And he just pushes him back with one arm. And where are you going to go if you're Kelly Bryant? I mean, it's impressive.
2nd and 9. Here's Bryant out of the flat for Feaster. And bring up a 3rd down. Matthew Thomas. Todd, I mentioned in the open, I think people will be surprised. You think about Florida State's 3-5 record. They're probably the same number of NFL players on the field today as number 4 Clemson.
They do, and that's the thing that's frustrating. And if you're a defender for Florida State, it's extra frustrating because talented, and outside of that Boston College game, the effort has been really good. It's just when you're averaging 18.6 points a game and making mistakes on offense, it's really hard.
3rd and 5. Here they come. Bryant will take a shot. Somebody got knocked down, and there is a flag on the play. Derek Noddy administering the hit on Bryant.
During the pass, personal foul, face mask number 8 on the defense. The penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. 1st down.
That's Stanford Samuels, the true freshman from Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Boy, what Todd was talking about, the penalties, and that's hard. I mean, you're going up against Hunter Renfro, one of the quickest receivers and most experienced receivers in all of college football. But this is where Florida State is. On a 3rd down, they had Nazaruddin covering him, gave up a 1st down. It's 2 freshmen.
Bryant fakes the pitch and a throw across the middle. Able to hook up with DJ Greenlee for a big completion. 32 to Greenlee. That might be his first catch of the season.
There's Nazaruddin, another true freshman. Watch the reaction to the pitch. I mean, it's just 1 step, and that's all it takes for Greenlee to get down the middle of the field.
On 1st down and 10, inside the 20, on the ground, Adam Choice. And he'll carry Derwin James for a few.
You see, it's the combination, right, of young players, penalties, turnovers. It's the same story for Florida State. And against a team like Clemson in this environment, they could run you out of this stadium in a hurry if you're going to do those things.
No, it's not just the quarterback. That's the easy, lazy narrative that's the reason for all of Florida State's problems this season. First and goal upcoming as Clemson is looking for more.
I don't think you're going to see any more of the zone reads here inside the 10-yard line. I think you're going to see straight handoff, or you're going to see Kelly Bryant keeping the football.
Bryant will hand it off to Adam Choice. Down by the goal line. Josh Sweat made the tackle. Dabo Swinney said, when Florida State dips their toe in the pool today in Clemson, he wants it to be real cold. Because when it's really cold, you don't want to go swimming. That ball is out again, and Florida State trying to recover. Brian Burns again knocked it free. There were 4 white jerseys there to recover for Florida State, and I'm not sure any of them got it.
Wow. It was the same play, Steve, the same play they fumbled on earlier in the game, and they call it again. Brian Burns does the same thing coming off the edge, 99. This time, Kelly Bryant tries to keep it, hadn't secured it, and Matthew Thomas tries to pick it up and run.
And Grease, this is the frustration. I mean, it's just not smart football. Get on that ball. It's a critical situation.
Yeah, but Todd, their offense is so inept. Right? They're trying to make a play. I can't fault them for that.
And it's still Clemson's football. Back of the end zone. It could be. I'm sorry, guys. I agree with Todd. Yeah. That's a microcosm of the season for Florida State. They're the only players around the football, and they still can't come up with it.
Yep. I mean, I can't fault Matthew Thomas for trying to pick that ball. There's nobody left. He's going to run for a touchdown and get himself back in the game. I mean, they just got the same turnover two series ago and didn't do anything with it.
So Clemson has fumbled at the Florida State 2 and the Florida State 1. Will Swinney is the holder. 26-yard field goal attempt for Alex Spence. And Spence bangs it through. Spence has been perfect from 30 yards or closer. Maybe the best news for Florida State about that first half is they'll get the football to start the third quarter. Halftime here at Death Valley, 17-0 Clemson. Step aside, send you back to Adnan, Joey, and Jesse in our studio. Indeed, you're watching ESPN College Football, presented by PlayStation View as part of our Veterans Week on ESPN, brought to you by USSA. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. In the first half, you were watching Clemson blank Florida State to the tune of 17-0. As we welcome you to the broadcast booth, Steve Levy along with Brian Greasy. Todd McShay will join us shortly. It's the first time since 2003 that Clemson has shut out Florida State in the first half. And of course, they play every year. They held the Seminoles to 46 yards of offense in that first half.
Yeah, and really, it's been their front seven. And the pressure on James Blackman, he was hit 7 times, 4 sacks. And it's hard to play quarterback when you're getting hit like this. This was the first fumble turnover of the game. Doesn't see Trey Lamar, doesn't see the defense, takes a big hit. Austin Bryant with great effort, just fighting to the quarterback. James Blackman holding the ball. You can't hold it against this defense. And then Cleveland Farrell in his own end zone, trying to throw this ball out on a big third down, and he's lucky that they got the ball back here. But you can't play quarterback under those kind of conditions. You see the hits, you see the sacks, and that's been the difference in the game.
As you look at our first half stats, brought to you by Hooters, I have a second half statistic. Would you be surprised to know that Florida State has not scored a third quarter touchdown all season long?
I don't think I am that surprised, to be totally honest with you.
All right, we'll see what else I have. We'll see if I have something else I can surprise you with. Florida State will open with the football. They'll start out at their own 25-yard line to open up quarter number 3. Fourth-ranked Tigers up 17-0. First down and 10 from the 25. Here's Blackman to come out throwing and completing. Able to hit Auden Tate, and he'll stay on his feet and have first down yardage. Tate able to make J.D. Davis miss, and this feels like a big possession in how the rest of this game will go.
Well, I could imagine, you know, the message from Jimbo Fisher in the locker room at halftime is, you know, you have to find your why. He told us that yesterday. Our team has to find their why. Why do you play? Why are you going to go out there and lay it on the line for your team, right? You don't have a championship to go to, but you have pride here in the second half. And if they don't come out with their best game here in the second half, they're going to get run out of the stadium.
Just the fourth first down for the Seminoles in the game. Tate had his first reception, and now it's a second completion in a row to Cam Akers, but he'll lose on the play. And there is a flag down.
If they're going to get Clelin Ferrell for a late hit on the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 99 defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Going to protect the quarterback, and you know sometimes these defensive line they smell blood in the water, and they want to get in the backfield, and I think that could have been a no call there. That was a continuation to me of a pass rush.
Clelin Ferrell's one of those personality players on that Clemson defense. He's the only player in the country to have 5 tackles for losses in more than one game.
You see his sleeve there. He writes motivational things on his sleeve. He's telling us yesterday, I don't have any tattoos. I couldn't really get to pull the trigger on the tattoo, so I just write messages to myself on my sleeve. It's a good idea.
Dream with me, baby. Incomplete. Blackman airmailed that one. And it's good. And the upside of not getting the tattoo is you can change it every week.
Absolutely. Yeah, the dream with me, baby. You see that right there. That's, you know, he's from Richmond, Virginia, and he felt like he's living his inspiration to a lot of young kids that growing up in Richmond. It's a tough place to grow up, and wants them to feel a part of where he's going.
He's the youngest of 9. His brothers named Marky, Ricky, Danny, Terry, Mikey, Davey, Timmy, Tommy, Joey, Robbie, Johnny, and Brian.
Okay, we got it.
There may be some sisters, maybe those aren't their names, but he is the youngest of 9. First time across midfield for Florida State, and they're going the wrong way, and now they're on their own side of the field.
Clelin Ferrell with the tackle.
Well, as talented as Cam Akers is, and he's talented, he's going to have a great career at Florida State, but he's not getting the supporting cast up front. This offensive line has been overmatched for Florida State in this game.
Third and 12, getting loud. That's Patrick in the backfield now, to the left of Blackman. Picked up the wrong man, still able to complete. Nooney Murray, that throw was on the money, and Blackman will pick himself up off the turf. Again, it was Clelin Ferrell on the hit on the quarterback.
You see clearly that Ferrell comes from his end position, and this is as tough as it gets. That is not a good feeling at all. But you know what? This is what you build leadership off of, toughness. And James Blackman has taken some huge hits early in this game. And for him to stand in there and continue to deliver, he's got my respect.
18-yard gain. That's the longest play from scrimmage for Florida State. Handoff to Jacquez Patrick. And he'll suffer a loss on the play. Christian Wilkins comes up to make the tackle. Wilkins is a guy who last year was on the outside, had all those gaudy stats. He's moved inside now. His numbers have taken a hit, but people who know all they need to about Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, you know what about Christian Wilkins on the field. Off the field is what really impresses me. He is the unquestioned leader, not just of this defense, but of this team. He has that personality, but he also has the leadership, and he's the total package.
Second and 12 to 35. Blackman able to complete to Murray. And they're just short of the first down. Be a third and short.
And you see this confidence for James Blackman on this drive alone, right? Starting to burgeon. And I think Jimbo Fisher's made the right adjustments at half. Get the ball out of your hand quick. How can they finish in the red zone?
That's Vickers in front of Patrick in the backfield. Tate shifts, and they hand off to the second man through Patrick, and he's not going to get there. Van Smith was the first man on it in orange. Brings up a 4th down.
Great effort by Patrick. I don't think there's any hesitation or question from Jimbo Fisher. He's going to go for it here. The question is, I don't think you can just turn around and hand it to Patrick and think you're going to get a first down. You might have to get to the edge of the perimeter, because this defensive front with Wilkins and Huggins and Pinckney, Farrell and others, they haven't had any success running between the tackles.
Reese, no decision here. You want points on the field. You're only down 2 scores. 10 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Not with a 44-yard field goal attempt. So you got to keep an eye on Ryan Izzo, the tight end.
Gonna throw for it. It was wide open. Wide open, and Auden Tate couldn't bring it down. James Blackman deserves a better fate.
So does Jimbo Fisher. At the timeout, you got the play that you wanted. Perfect play call, off a play action. This is not just a first down. This should be a touchdown, Steve. And yeah, the ball's out there a little bit, but I mean, Auden Tate, you got to lay out for that ball, right? Whatever you got to do to get your body in position to make that play. And this has been Florida State's MO all year, just a little bit short.
Tate's had some foot issues. Did not play last week. Had a touchdown in the first 5 games of the season. Could have had a touchdown there, but couldn't haul it in. So Clemson already leading 17-0. Will take over on downs. Tavian Feaster with a pickup of 4. I would have kicked. Did I mention that?
Yes.
It's not a second guess if I said it before the play.
Florida State, close losses. How many? 3 or 4 of them this year.
Here's Bryant. He swung around. Derek Nottie was there first.
Kelly Bryant on the quarterback keeper. Right now, number 91, Derek, no gain on the play.
Now it's on Florida State's defense. The first drive here in the second half. They've played well enough in this game. I mean, the 2 touchdown drives that Clemson had, one was off a turnover to start the game. The other was off of a Ray McLeod punt return into plus territory. So they've held their own.
3rd and 6. Here's Bryant throwing for it. Up high, and of course, Renfro brings it down. There's an exact example of what's going right for Clemson. Their guys make the play that Florida State can't.
And Renfro always shows up. Big games, big moments, 3rd downs. We actually talked to him yesterday, and he said, you know, we noticed a tendency, probably throwing too much to me on 3rd downs. We're going to try to break away from that. I just laughed. Good luck with that.
Out of the 45. ETN again, that time just for 3 yards. Bring it to 3rd down.
But you can see they took his helmet away, which means he's not going back in this football game.
Second down, I beg your pardon. 2nd and 8. ETN stays in the block, so Bryant can throw and complete to T. Higgins for the first down. Higgins' first reception. Rodgers and Higgins, we touched on those 2 5-star players coming out of high school, future stars. Mario Rodgers is T. Martin's son. T. Higgins was just named after T. Martin. And both have star potential. Here's C.J. Fuller. I mean, it's amazing. Clemson could just roll so many guys, both carrying the football and receiving.
Yeah, certainly. And we love to talk about all the skill guys, and Dabo Sweeney knows the difference in Clemson in the last 3 or 4 years, the years prior, is that offensive line. That offensive line is a catalyst, and all these guys are beneficiaries, running backs and receivers.
Bit of a high snap. And Bryant will loft to the sideline over T. Higgins' head. And that depth you talk about, the offensive line, Grease, talking to their coaching staff, their 7th offensive lineman will get some 20 snaps a game.
Well, they've done this for a while now. They'll rotate in their 2nd offensive line quite a bit during the course of the entire season. You see right now, John Simpson's the backup left guard. They've got Tyrone Crowder in there. Tremaine Ankrum is in the game at right tackle, 73. He's a backup. They think they have 8 or 9 starting offensive linemen, and they play that way.
Here's Bryant to throw. Got some backside pressure. Now some time trying to make people miss. And he is dropped, sacked by Brian Burns. Well, the offensive line, even the second teamers gave him plenty of time there.
Yeah, this is just Kelly Bryant hold on to the ball a little bit. You're going to see wide open down here. This is where the ball's got to go, and it's got to go now. Like you can't keep holding it from right there. You got to throw the ball out here, and he just doesn't get it done. I think, you know, we've seen him struggle to throw the ball down the field, and last week against NC State he struggled. Tonight he's struggling, and when you see a guy open like that and you don't pull the trigger, you start to wonder about his confidence throwing it down the field.
Will Spires gets it away. Fair catch. First down and 10. See what the resistance Florida State has to offer here. Blackman comes out firing. Again, it's high, but this time Tate is able to bring that one down, bring up a second and short.
It's almost like a pitcher, you know, when a pitcher gets rattled a little bit, you know, they'll be inaccurate and throw high. And in pitching, you get taken out of the ballpark. But as a quarterback, you know, once you get that ball high, now you're exposing all your receivers to shots from defenders in the ribs or overthrowing balls that could be intercepted.
It's always been my understanding, though, when a quarterback throws high, it could be nerves as opposed to throwing to the right or to the left of a player. First down yardage here by Cam Akers. And I wonder, you know, could he still be nervous? I understand he has not been in this kind of atmosphere, freshman, I get that. But at this point, the nerves should be gone after that first half.
I think it's more mechanical than anything. I just think that he's not following through, and maybe it's because he's taken so many hits.
There you go.
And he's not, you know, he's just not used to being able to follow through. A lot of times when guys are under pressure, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks this year, it happens every year, they wind up losing their mechanics and throwing without balance and finishing the throw.
Yeah, mechanics went out the window after the first 5 times he got drilled.
Save yourself. First down and 10. Give it to Akers. 11 carries, 42 yards going into that. That'll be a loss. Albert Huggins led the way.
You know, when you get hit as a quarterback, you start to wonder if you can step into a throw because the guys are in your face. And when you don't see how he stepped behind himself there with his left foot, when you can't step confidently and stride into your throw, that's when the ball goes high. And that's what's been consistent in the second half for Blackman.
Trying to go back shoulder, and Trayvon Mullen on the coverage, and maybe a little too good on the coverage. Flag flies. Could be some pass interference. It was Mullen on Keith Gavin.
Pass interference, defense number 1, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Trayvon Mullen did 2 out of 3 things right. He's in good position, and he's looking back for the ball, gets his hand on the ball. But the one thing he didn't do well is he didn't get the other hand off the receiver, and that's too much contact there from a DB.
Now Mullen has moved over to Carter's side, so maybe he's not used to playing the other sideline in terms of technique. A.J. Terrell is the other corner, and again, we'll watch for Ray McLeod on defense for Clemson. Under 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Does Florida State have a push in them? Blackman throwing. Tight window and a catch.
Pass is complete to 18,
Auden Tate. How did he catch that ball? That's a big league throw, too.
It's a good coverage there by Terrell, too. You know, I think that the fact that Florida State is behind 17-0 in this game has forced Jimbo Fisher to play with 3 wide receivers when he doesn't really want to play that way. He wants to be in 2 tight ends and run the ball.
2nd and 2 on the ground of Patrick. Barely got back to the line of scrimmage. Christian Wilkins was there to greet him.
You know, Jimbo he's a pro-style offense, and I think that people forget that. He wants to play with 2 tight ends. He wants a physical back. He wants to run the stretch, counter, and power inside, and then to make it off of it. But because of the fact that they're behind 17-0, he's been forced into this passing situation with a young quarterback.
See, Jimbo was trying to hide, I think, from our cameras. Hiding behind the cardboard. Fortunately, we have an extra camera or 2. Here's 3rd and 2. Rushing 4, good time, and it's knocked away. Trayvon Mullen I was going to say excellent defense, but maybe not. Flag comes in late. Again covering Keith Gavin.
That was a late flag from the back judge, and that back judge is responsible for looking at those inside slot receivers.
Defense. Penalty is an automatic first down, spot of the foul.
And that back judge sees the arm. Trayvon Mullen hooks the arm around the outside of Gavin, and that's what he saw, and the reason he threw the flag.
Brian Platt is our back judge. Florida State moves across midfield for the second time in the game.
Keep an eye on number 70, Cole Minshew, the right guard. He got up limping, really struggling even to get in and out of the huddle.
They've been thin on that offensive line side. Brock Ruble would be the guy that comes in. They've had 3 injuries up front this year already.
Down the middle of the field, it's caught. A beautiful ball to Nooney Murray, and he's able to haul it in. And all of a sudden, the Seminoles are knocking at the door.
What a big-time throw from James Blackman. You're going to see it's too deep, man under. He has to throw this ball over the linebacker, Daniel, and in front of the safety. Run perfectly.
And they're going fast on the ground. It's Akers. Rather, Patrick, I beg your pardon. Jacquez Patrick. And you have just seen the first Florida State third-quarter touchdown of the season. And they're in the game. Wow. A drive that started back on their own 10-yard line.
7 plays, 90 yards, as you said, a little over 3.5 minutes. And how about the story of Jacquez Patrick, the determination? 2 weeks ago, had a knee injury, thought his season was over, went into the operating table, got operated on, found out that it wasn't as severe as they originally thought, and he's back on the field 2 weeks later and scores a touchdown.
Ricky Aguayo, the extra point. A couple of first downs on pass interference. And again, the first third-quarter touchdown for Florida State all season long. We've got a ball game with 1:13 to play here in the third quarter. Travis Etienne now. So fast, able to get just out to the 20-yard line. Thought about running, and now he'll throw it away. Brian Burns had the pressure.
You see Charles Kelly. It's been a tough year for him. They came into this season, people forget, they thought this defense would be one of the best in all of college football. They've been on the field a lot because this offense hasn't been able to sustain drives and score points. They've got the talent to stop this Clemson team. See if they have the energy left in the fourth quarter.
Brian will take some more people on and take another hit. Dontavius Jackson, the stick. His first tackle. Bring up a third down, and we might have seen the last play of quarter number 3.
I start to wonder about the number of hits that Kelly Bryant takes. Last week was a very physical game. He took hit after hit from Chubb and company. And I think he knows at this point in a 10-point game, the fourth quarter might just be as many hits this week as it was last week.
Well, it looked like Clemson had this game in hand. No trouble at all. And then James Blackman found Nooney Murray for a big game. And Jacquez Patrick punched it in. 10-point game going to the fourth. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay as we open up quarter number 4. And the tenor and tone of this game has drastically changed. It's a 10-point ball game.
Playoff football now, right? You got to, fourth quarter of these games, you got to close it out.
Here's Bryant to throw. Nobody's home. Brings up fourth down. Ray McLeod, the intended target. Levante Taylor had the coverage.
Yeah, that's knowing the tendency, right? Knowing the tendency on third down, trying to get the ball to Renfro. So you put one of your best players, Derwin James, on him, right? And you can't get that completion, you get a big stop.
3 consecutive punts upcoming. Will Spires is starting to get a workout here. And you get the sense Clemson didn't think this would be so difficult. as difficult as it is. Spires back at his 17, angling to the right. And that'll take a bounce, and scooped up by DJ Matthews down the sideline. He's walloped out of bounds. The 40, and a flag comes in late. Might have been already on that chalk. And that'll be a very big penalty if it goes that way. All I got was, are you kidding me?
That ball squirted kind of funny on the ground. It looked like it might have hit a player. I don't know if it was a Clemson player.
There is no foul for a late hit out of bounds. First down.
Let's go back and take a look here. It's Cornell Powell, number 17. Yep, that ball did hit his foot. That's why it kind of bounced funny. And then Matthews trying to get upfield. Steps out of bounds, and I think that's a good call. I'll lay off that.
So here we go. Flip it back. Blackman's going to throw it. Another man wide open. It's Ryan Izzo down the sideline. He'll cut it. Ryan Izzo won't be caught from behind. Touchdown. It's a 60-yard score for the Seminoles.
Wow. You got the sense from Jimbo Fisher. They get the stop on defense. They get a first down with Cam Akers, and then once they get out of the shadow of their own end zone, they take a shot with a trick play, and they lose sight of the big tight end Izzo, who's been quiet tonight. He's been mostly used as a blocker, and he makes one cut and finishes, and this is a ball game.
Here's Ricky Aguayo on for the extra point, and it is good. First catch today for Ryan Izzo, and it's big. Don't look now. We got a 3-point game. In this 2013 matchup between these two schools, Jameis Winston, 440 yards passing and 3 scores. And what is brewing here now tonight in Death Valley in a 3-point game? Travis Etienne runs into his own teammate, and he's stopped at the 10-yard line. Clemson takes over from the 10. Their worst starting field position of the game, as you might expect. Here's Etienne. He'll gain 4, and the Seminoles keep on hitting with 8:40 left in the game.
You see James Blackman on the sideline, right? And everybody giving him a pat on the back. He's hung in there. I mean, I haven't seen a quarterback get hit like he got hit in the first quarter. And for him to still be in this game and throwing shots down the field is credit to him.
Bryant to throw, and it is caught. Deon Cain makes the catch. Knocked out of bounds. That
last touchdown, Steve. All the pressure now squarely back on the shoulders of Kelly Bryant and Clemson, right? This is their playoff game, right? They're in the national title hunt. And now all the pressure back on them to get some first down.
The pitch to Etienne. Got a few. Again, it's McFadden and James who come up there. Our spotter, Ben Bowman, keeps writing on my pad, Pitt from last year. Remember, Clemson let Pittsburgh hang around. This game could have been over in the first half, Reese.
It should have been 28-0 at halftime.
Exactly.
2 fumbles inside the 5-yard line by Kelly Bryant. Certainly let Florida State hang around.
2nd and 5. Bryant with all sorts of time, able to throw incomplete to Hunter Renfrow. He has first down yardage. Nothing new there. 7.5 to go here in the 4th.
Great job by Tony Elliott, Jeff Scott, the co-offensive coordinators, along with Dabo Sweeney, of not going into a shell right here. Yes, this game has changed, but you can't go into a shell offensively. Throwing the ball, rolling out, moving the pocket. You know, give Kelly Bryant a one side of the field read, 1 to 2, and let him run with use his feet if it's not there. But they've been aggressive, and I think it's the right call.
Bryant in the face of pressure could not connect on the back shoulder throw. Matthew Thomas was in his face.
I just think back to talking to Dabo about last week and how Kelly Bryant played the worst game of his career, but he showed him something, and he grew up at the end of that game, and maybe having some confidence in him, knowing that, hey, he hasn't had the best game tonight either, but knowing that he can deliver in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line.
And on the other side, as Jimbo Fisher told us, they have not gotten stops by their defense to win these kind of games. They've been in last possession games seemingly every week, other than the Boston College game. That ball comes out. Roderick Hoskins knocked it free from Kelly Bryant.
Kelly Bryant had.
And it's Derwin James who comes away with the football. Seminoles have it. Down 3 with 6:46 to play.
Florida State came into this game with only 6 turnovers. That's their 3rd one of this game. Roderick Hoskins, give him credit. Josh Sweat was in there as well. There was 3 Clemson offensive linemen right there with an opportunity to get the ball. And Derwin James, look at him, he comes in late. And the fight and scratch and claw to get that football with a game-changing turnover for Florida State.
So here we go. Call your friends. Text your relatives. Number 4 could be in some trouble here at home. Here's Blackman throwing for it down the middle, intercepted. It's picked off by Van Smith. Van Smith down the sideline across midfield. Back-to-back turnovers.
They went back to the same play they tried to hit Mooney Murray on earlier for the first touchdown drive. And Blackman, you're going to see, here comes Murray from this side. Here's Van Smith right here. Watches Blackman. He gets ready to throw this football, and he never saw Van Smith. He's trying to throw the ball here, but he never sees Van Smith right there. That's a young quarterback trying to make a play and be aggressive. Van Smith made him pay.
And a huge sigh of relief for Clemson and Anderson, South Carolina as well. 6.5 to go here in the 4th. Clemson by 3. They get the football back. It's a 38-yard return by Smith off the pick. Clemson's offense just dried up since the start of the quarter, the 3rd quarter. And again, nothing doing there. Feaster can't do much.
Take a look at Jimbo Fisher with James Blackman, right? He's saying it's first down. It's first down, right? Throw the check down. And James is trying to make a play, right? He's trying to make that splash play. And Jimbo's teaching him. And he's learning. He should be learning as a backup quarterback to DeAndre Francois, but he's learning in a big stage like this on the road. And he's saying, I thought I had him open. I never saw him. Just doesn't have the reps. So check it down if you're not absolutely sure.
Off the quick change, also the turnover the play before. 2nd down and 10. Bryant rolling to his left and completing to Hunter Renfrow. He's got the first down, same old story.
Fourth quarter, tight games. It's Hunter Renfrow time. And if I'm Kelly Bryant, I'm either going to run the ball or I'm going to throw it to number 13. And especially because Florida State has a true freshman guarding him in Stanford Samuels.
Renfrow has 0 touchdown catches this season. 0. 11 touchdowns in his career. 10 of them have come on the road. Only 1 at home. And in that 1 home touchdown catch, he broke his wrist on the play.
Unbelievable.
But he was quick to point out we won the game. Handoff to Feaster. Stopped by James. Renfrow has 4 catches today. You will not be surprised to learn all for first downs. Under 5 to play now.
I think Dabo Sweeney's trying to kind of slow it down. They're in a huddle. Like, they don't do this very much, right? Like, this is a group of orange bodies here. You don't see that very often, but They are happy to take as much time off the clock here, under 5 minutes, as they can up 3.
And if you're Florida State, you've unfortunately had to burn a couple timeouts already, basically because of young quarterback issues and communication issues early in this half, so only one remaining.
3 to snap it. Get it away. Etienne stay on his feet. Travis Etienne hopping over people and down to the 5. Gain of 25 for Travis Etienne.
Great job blocking up front. Mylan Richard, both touchdown. The touchdown earlier for Etienne. Richard had a great block and almost gets another one here. Once you get him to the second level, he's tough to bring down. There's Richard 80 on the outside on Brian Burns. Then you pull around Taylor Hearn, and he gets a block on the safety, Israel Dean, and you're in business.
Etienne, 92 rushing yards. Now remember, this is the part of the field which Clemson has already fumbled twice. Down at the other end, but inside the red zone, inside the 5 actually. Here's Etienne trying to power his way to the end zone with some help from his friends. Waiting for the whistle or the signal. There's the touchdown.
The review booth heard that whistle and put it at the 1 yard line.
Forward progress was ruled on the field at the 1/2 yard line. Therefore, the second down, 1/2 yard line.
Saying progress is stopped at the 1 yard line, except for one official who signaled touchdown.
Wow. Great effort here from Etienne. And then all the guys show up, and you see when he starts to go backwards, that's when they stop the progress, the forward progress. When he starts going backwards, I think that was a good call.
And Clemson has fumbled at the 2 and at the 1 of Florida State, both in the first half. The benefit here for Clemson is they can take another 40 seconds off the clock. Unless something disastrous happens here to the Tigers. Handoff. Etienne in for the touchdown. No whistles. Only cheering.
Great job by Etienne finishing this drive off. The mistake by James Blackman. Van Smith makes him pay after Kelly Bryant puts the ball on the ground. And
extra point on the way. It was good.
Respond to the pressure, right? Number 4 gets a little scare and come back, respond to it.
Huge sigh of relief here. Sam Burke and his family, great news, getting home. Amir Rasul for Florida State. They got one last push left in them. He stumbles out to the 27-yard line.
2 of them here in the booth with Red and Joel.
How lucky are we? 3 minutes to go. Blackman trying to get out of it. And he'll lean forward for a yard. Chad Smith will fall on top of him. Under 3 minutes to play. And again, Florida State, they have just one timeout left.
You see DeAndre Francois back there behind Jimbo Fisher. You just wonder all of the learning that's happened for James Blackman in this game. If DeAndre Francois were playing this game, how different it might be.
2nd and 9. Incomplete. Led his receiver just too far. There was some news coming out of Florida State this past week. Remember, they had the game that was canceled, and then it made it postponed. They're going to play on December the 2nd. They'll play Louisiana Monroe. That was postponed due to Hurricane Irma. Jimbo said his guys are guaranteed a 12th game. Why shouldn't they play a 12th game?
I agree. They should play that 12th game. I know there's a lot of cynics out there that think it's just so that they can have the potential to get to a bowl game, but it was on the schedule at the beginning of the year. If they can do it, why wouldn't they?
Chance at a 6th victory in the season. They'll have to win their final 3. Nearly intercepted. That ball was knocked away. So they'll have to win their final 3 games. Florida State will host Delaware State, then at Florida. And then when teams are playing in their conference championship games, they'll be taking on Louisiana Monroe at home. We should point out also, that's important for Louisiana Monroe. They want that game to be played. They'll be paid $1.35 million. Hey, I see that as win-win.
Yep.
Those bowl streak and the winning seasons, that's all remarkable stuff. 4th and 9. Blackman thrown on the run. And Erman Lane could not bring it in. Too many missed plays by the Florida receiving corps, I think. Could have bailed out their quarterback
I think
today.
Trayvon Mullen got a hand in here. I mean, he's sticking on the receiver. That's a great job by Mullen. He's had to step up with the injuries to Fields, Marcus Edmond, and he's played a whale of a game. Then they lose Ryan Carter in this game, so he's the only guy left at the corner position with any kind of experience. He's played a whale of a game tonight. Clemson's going to escape. They should have been up 28-0 at halftime of this game, and Florida State, they let them hang around. They didn't do much offensively in the 3rd quarter, and then the turnover by Kelly Bryant, but they didn't lose faith. They kept plugging away, and Van Smith comes up with the play of the game to turn the tide.
Dabo has plenty of material to work with this week to keep everybody focused when the Citadel comes to town next week. Adam Choice, 1st down yardage.
Oh yeah, they're going to get the Citadel and then South Carolina. Now South Carolina's playing a better brand of football. They put it on Florida today. So that's not a gimme. And I don't think, this Clemson team, the way that they've played the NC State game and this one, they haven't been blowing teams out. They controlled the Georgia Tech game, I'll give you that. But I don't think that this is going to be a Clemson team that's just going to blow teams out. So South Carolina will probably be a close game, and if they can get that one, it'll be hard to keep them out of the Final Four.
You want to give Dexter Lawrence and Kendall Joseph another week off next week against the Citadel? Watch for that. It's Choice again, down to the 10.
Well, Auburn is still alive. With 2 losses, there's no question about that. It sets up quite the Iron Bowl coming up in a couple of weeks.
Wait, so a 2-loss team can get in the playoff?
Absolutely, if it's named Auburn.
Okay. Got to change the tune a little bit there, I think, from the car ride. Adam Choice rumbling down towards the goal line. For the touchdown. And that will be an important score to some.
Not only to some, I think to everybody, right? You got to win, but you also have to win convincingly, because Clemson, right? They're battling the Oklahomas. They're battling the Notre Dames, right? They're battling the Miamis, the TCUs, the Wisconsins. So they've got to win and win impressively, and Dabo Swinney knows that one will help.
Front margin of victory wasn't supposed to be a factor anymore.
The eye test.
Yes, they are human beings, not computers. This was much closer than the score will look. 2 touchdowns in 2.5 minutes. Clemson are going to walk away with lots of confidence. And Dabo can enjoy this. They're wearing their orange britches, as they say. They will get a trophy after this game for winning the Atlantic Division. Amir Rasul from the 20. Out to the 30. And clearly better days are ahead for the Seminoles. Final half minute to play. Blackman dumps it down for Jaquez Patrick. And that should do it. Clemson is about to clinch their 3rd straight Atlantic Division title with a win They've got bigger trophies in mind as they remain on track to go back-to-back. Every game's a playoff game the rest of the way for Clemson, so this would be considered a playoff victory against one of their arch rivals, Jimbo Fisher in Florida State.
I think they'll go home tonight and flip on the Miami-Notre Dame game, and they'll be rooting hard for the Hurricanes, hoping to set up that matchup of highly ranked teams in the ACC Championship.
Final score here in Death Valley. Clemson, the ACC Atlantic Division champs. Once again, they beat Florida State 31-14. But if you watched, you know it was much closer than that. We hope you did watch. Brian Greasy and Todd McShay, I'm Steve Levy. Send you back to Adnan Burke, along with his pals Joey and Jesse in the studio. Fellas.